horror and disbelief across liberal Europe about far-right win in eastern Germany. The result of two regional elections in Germany's east have sent shockwaves through Europe. That a far-right party, known for its relativism and ambiguity about Germany's Nazi past, was able to win is being met with disbelief. The leader of the Liberal group in the European Parliament, Valérie Ayer, called it unprecedented and a dark day for Germany and for Europe. The European Commissioner for the Economy, Paolo Gentiloni, posted a bitter comment on the strong result of the far right and the populist far left. Friends of Russia in a former USSR satellite state, enemies of migrants in the German area with little immigration, rancor against everything and everyone, tweeted Gentiloni. It is unlikely that the AfD and the far-left Sarah Wagenknecht party will turn this majority into a governing coalition, but could this strong anti-Ukrainian and pro-Russian sentiment influence the German or even the European position on supporting Ukraine?
Luckily, I must say, the Länder do not decide on foreign policy, so the support in Germany, according to all the polls we know, is quite high in support, and the same goes for Europe. If you look into the numbers of young people who voted up to 40% to the extremist parties, then it is about the future and the vision we can give to them and the hopes, of course.
One of the biggest losers of both regional elections is the Green Party, part of the governing coalition in Berlin. In Thuringia, they failed to get a single legislator elected. Does that spell trouble for Germany's ambitious energy transition goals? German Green MEP Michael Bloß believes that the narrative surrounding the transition should focus more on what has already been achieved, especially in Germany's east.
There's different things that we need to address on the eastern part. We in Germany overall need to appreciate more what they have already done in terms of transformation and how they have already achieved a lot.
But with the political landscape changed beyond recognition and former coalitions reduced to irrelevance, the newly elected legislators in Saxony and Thuringia will first have to somehow find a way of forming a government.
Far-right party Alternative for Germany managed to win a third of the votes in two East German states on Sunday. Parties in Saxony and Thuringia will begin talks to form a state government. Thuringia residents were too sceptical of the media to speak on camera, but told Euronews that their votes for the AfD were a last resort.
Ja, diese Wahl hat natürlich nochmal gezeigt, dass Deutschland auf eine Weise normal geworden ist, weil sich die Rechtspopulisten, die wir überall sehr stark haben in Europa, auch in Deutschland sehr stark durchsetzen. Und man muss ja auch sagen, es ist nicht nur die AfD, sondern auch der BSW, die schon mindestens mal populistische Positionen haben, die sich auch sehr ähneln an vielen Stellen. Also wir haben einen eigentlich noch viel größeren Anteil an Rechtspopulisten als nur die AfD. Da liegen wir eben bei fast 50%. Und das ist schon etwas, was auch für europäische Verhältnisse eigentlich ungewöhnlich ist. Also da muss man sehr, sehr darauf achten und das wird vielleicht sich irgendwann auf der Bundesebene auch mal durchschlagen.
Over in Saxony, voters expressed their shock that AfD and BSV managed to get so many votes.
Für meine Begriffe etwas enttäuschend. Man konnte zwar ahnen, dass hier AfD den ersten Platz einnimmt, aber für mich ist das eine absolute Protestwahl der Menschen hier in Sachsen und in Thüringen.
Die sind ganz fürchterlich. Also, dass die AfD so stark ist hier und auch die Wagenknecht, das ist schlimm.
As the far-right party Alternative for Germany celebrates their historic win in the Thuringia state elections, several hundred marched through the streets of Erfurt last night and several shed tears, as this is the first time a far-right party has won a state elections since Nazi rule in Germany. Several Erfurt residents told me yesterday that the reason that they voted for AfD was because they were concerned about safety after knife attacks have dominated the headlines for the past few months. Even if the AfD doesn't manage to form a coalition, it's clear that other parties will begin to adopt stricter policies in a bid to win back disillusioned voters.
Russia's President Vladimir Putin arrived to Mongolia on a state visit. But despite an outstanding international warrant, he wasn't arrested by the ICC member state. Putin was welcomed at Mongolia's international airport by the country's foreign minister. The official visit comes amid an international warrant for his arrest nearly 18 months ago on charges of war crimes in Ukraine. Ukraine and the EU had called on Mongolia to fulfill its obligation to the ICC and arrest Putin.
We have raised our concern about the visit and stated our position of the ICC clearly via our delegation in Mongolia. And of course, the EU supports the investigation by the prosecutor of the ICC in Ukraine, and we call for the full cooperation by all state parties.
Members of the ICC are bound to detain suspects if an arrest warrant has been issued, but the court doesn't have any enforcement mechanism. The ICC has accused Putin of being responsible for the abduction of children from Ukraine, where the fighting has raged for 2.5 years.
Russia has launched a barrage of drones, cruise, and ballistic missiles at Kyiv Monday morning. Residents were sent into bomb shelters as several explosions rocked the city. One person was injured from falling debris, according to Kyiv Mayor Vitaly Klitschko. The head of Kyiv City Military Administration said over 10 cruise missiles, about 10 ballistic missiles, and a drone fired at the Ukrainian capital and its suburbs were destroyed by Ukraine's air defenses. In the Russian city of Belgorod, a Ukrainian shelling reportedly damaged a kindergarten, a commercial facility, several residential buildings, and cars, said Governor Vyacheslav Gladkov. Just hours earlier, a strike in the Ukrainian city of Kharkiv damaged a gas pipe and wounded dozens. Local firefighters tried to quench flames from leaking gas. This comes a day after Russia's military reported 158 Ukrainian drones targeted multiple Russian regions in one of the biggest attacks of the war.
Belgium will nominate its Federal Minister for Foreign Affairs and Trade, Hadja Labib, to serve in the next European Commission, after missing the initial time limit set by Commission Chief Ursula von der Leyen. The news came as Romania switched its Commission candidate to current MEP and former Minister for European Funds, Roxana Minzatu, with von der Leyen seeking to ensure greater gender balance among her top officials. With these announcements, each member state has now presented its nominees for the European Commission. At a conference in Slovenia, von der Leyen said this new Commission will prioritise EU enlargement, which is why the area will now have its own commissioner.
Let me be very clear. I want our work to speed up even more. In the next Commission, enlargement must be a full-time job that allows undivided attention. And this is why I will appoint a dedicated Commissioner for Enlargement. Let's write history together.
The new nominations mean women would represent 9 out of the 27 most senior officials in the EU's executive branch. The situation remains fluid amidst rumours that von der Leyen has requested countries to reconsider nominations in the pursuit of gender parity.
Exit polls show that Azerbaijan's ruling party secured a narrow victory in Sunday's snap election. Initial results show President Ilham Aliyev's new Azerbaijan party won 68 out of 125 seats, down from 69.
Altogether, 11 political parties are represented in the parliament at the result of these elections, but these are preliminary results. And so, and all other, just 10 political parties get altogether 13 seats in the parliament. And the turnout, according to the preliminary results, for the whole country was 37.27%.
The new Azerbaijan party has been in power since 1993. Initially led by Heydar Aliyev, the party is now under the leadership of his son, who's often accused of ruling heavy-handedly and suppressing dissent. The election comes less than a year after Azerbaijani forces reclaimed the Nagorno-Karabakh region, which had been under the control of Armenian forces since 1994. Voting was held in the region for the first time in 30 years.
The Gotthard Base Tunnel, the main rail connection between Switzerland and Italy, reopens on Monday more than a year after an accident forced its closure. It happened on August the 10th last year when a Swiss Federal Railways freight train derailed due to a broken wheel. The derailment caused the train to crash into the gate separating the western and eastern tunnels, causing severe damage. An investigation after the crash revealed that hairline fractures in a wagon wheel caused the accident when pieces came away, causing the carriage to jump the tracks. And the cleanup operation was also problematic.
Allein die Bergung des Unfallzuges und die Räumung der Unfallstelle hat mehrere Wochen in Anspruch genommen. Anschließend mussten sämtliche Materialien in diesen Tunnel gebracht werden. Es herrschen Temperaturen von fast 40 Grad im Gotthard-Basistunnel. Zum Schutz der Arbeitenden mussten Vorkehrungen getroffen werden.
SBB estimated last year that repairing the damage would cost in the region of €135 million, but the company said this week that the final price tag was €159 million. Taking almost 17 years to complete after decades of planning, the Gotthard Base Tunnel is the longest railway tunnel in the world, stretching 57 kilometers under the Swiss Alps. It's an essential link between Switzerland's German and Italian-speaking cantons and cost €10 billion to construct.